The rain came down in sheets, hammering the roof of the old diner where Ezra sat, his coffee untouched, eyes fixed on the man across the room. Julian was laughing, his voice a melody that cut through the storm's roar. And Ezra's heart clenched with a love so fierce it scared him. How could someone so gentle, so human, unravel a demon like him in just 6 months? Ezra wasn't human, not entirely. Beneath his weathered jacket and calloused hands, his blood hummed with the ancient power of the demon clan, a heritage he'd kept buried since he fled the massacre that claimed his family. He'd settled in this sleepy Oregon town, blending in as a mechanic, hiding his sharper senses, his unnatural strength. But Julian, with his soft brown curls and eyes like summer dusk, had walked into his life at the auto shop, asking for a tire change and leaving with Ezra's heart. They'd married 3 months ago in a quiet ceremony by the river, just them and a justice of the peace. Julian had woven wildflowers into Ezra's hair, laughing as petals caught in his beard. "You look like a forest god," he'd teased, and Ezra had kissed him under the stars, believing for the first time that he could belong somewhere. But tonight, as Julian chatted with the diner's owner, something felt wrong. A faint glow pulsed in Julian's shadow, invisible to human eyes but searing to Ezra's demon senses. It wasn't the first time he'd noticed it, but tonight it burned brighter, like a warning. Ezra sipped his coffee, the bitterness grounding him. He'd heard whispers and town stories of a stranger passing through, a man with an aura that made people uneasy. The locals called him a holy wanderer. But Ezra's instincts screamed something else: power, ancient and deadly. He shook off the thought. Julian was a librarian, a man who baked bread and rescued stray cats. He wasn't some harbinger of doom. But the glow flickered again, and Ezra's grip tightened on his mug. Memories clawed at him, his clan's stronghold in the mountains, the screams as a golden light tore through their defenses. The divine general, they'd called him, a human chosen by the heavens to eradicate demons. Ezra had been a child, hidden in a cave, watching his kin fall. He'd vowed to forget, to live as human. But the past was a shadow that never left. Julian slid into the booth across from him, his smile soft. "You're quiet tonight." His hand brushed Ezra's, warm and steady. And for a moment, the diner's hum drowned out the storm in Ezra's mind. "Just thinking," Ezra said, forcing a grin, "about how you're too good for this place." Julian laughed, but his eyes held a flicker of something guilt. "Secrets. You're the one who's too good, Ezra. Always fixing things, making people feel safe." He leaned closer, voice dropping. "I don't deserve you." The words hit like a blade. Ezra wanted to laugh them off, to pull Julian into his arms and forget the unease gnawing at him. But the glow in Julian's shadow pulsed again, and Ezra's demon blood stirred, whispering a truth he wasn't ready to face. The next morning, Ezra woke to the smell of pancakes and Julian humming in their small kitchen. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, painting Julian's silhouette in gold. He looked so ordinary, so human, in his faded sweater, flipping pancakes with a clumsy grin. But Ezra couldn't shake the image of that glow, the way it had flared last night. He needed answers. "I'm heading to the shop early," Ezra lied, kissing Julian's cheek. "Got a rush job." Julian's smile faltered, but he nodded. "Be safe." "Okay." Ezra drove to the edge of town, where the forest met the highway. The woods here were old, older than the town, and they held secrets demons could sense. He parked his truck and hiked to a clearing where his clan had once performed rituals. Kneeling in the dirt, he pressed his hands to the earth, letting his demon blood connect with the land. "Show me," he whispered. The ground hummed, and visions flooded his mind, flashes of fire, blood, and that same golden light. He saw the divine general, a figure cloaked in radiance, wielding a blade that burned with holy fire. But the face was blurred, hidden. Ezra's heart pounded. Was it possible? Could Julian, his Julian, be tied to that monster? He stumbled back to the truck, his mind racing. When he got home, Julian was gone. A note on the counter at the library. Love you. Ezra's hands shook as he crumpled the paper. He drove to the library, a squat brick building where Julian spent his days cataloging books and helping kids with homework. But as Ezra parked, he saw Julian outside, talking to a man in a black coat. The stranger's presence made Ezra's skin crawl. Another demon. He was sure of it. Ezra slipped closer, hiding behind a row of shelves inside. Julian's voice was low, urgent. You can't be here. Marcus. It's not safe. Marcus. The stranger sneered. You think you can hide forever? General. The clans know. They're coming for you. Ezra's blood turned to ice. General. The word echoed in his skull, dragging up memories of slaughter. Julian shook his head, his face pale. I'm not that man anymore. I left that life. You don't get to leave. Marcus hissed. You killed thousands. You think a ring on your finger erases that? Ezra backed away, his heart splitting. Julian, his husband, the man who sang off-key in the shower, was the divine general, the monster who destroyed his clan. He stumbled out of the library, the world blurring around him. That night, Ezra didn't go home. He sat in his truck, parked by the river where they'd married, replaying every moment with Julian. The way Julian had held him after nightmares. The way he'd whispered, I love you, like a vow. How could that man be a killer? His phone buzzed. Julian, calling for the third time. Ezra ignored it. But a text followed, please come home. I'm worried. The words stung. But Ezra's anger burned hotter. He drove to a bar on the outskirts of town, drowning his thoughts in whiskey. Hours later, Julian found him there, his face etched with worry. Ezra, what's wrong? You've been gone all day. Ezra's voice was rough, slurred. Don't. Just don't. Julian reached for him, but Ezra pulled away. I heard you. He spat. At the library. With Marcus. I know who you are. General. Julian froze, his eyes wide with fear. Ezra. Please. Let me explain. Explain. Ezra laughed, bitter and broken. You slaughtered my clan, my family, and you married me like it was nothing. Julian's face crumpled. I didn't know. Ezra. When we met, I didn't know you were one of them. I swear. One of them. Ezra's voice cracked. I'm a demon. Julian. And you're the man who hunted us. The bar's noise faded, leaving only the weight of their words. Julian stepped closer, his voice trembling. I love you. Ezra. That's real. Everything else, I left it behind. For you. Ezra wanted to believe him, wanted to fall into the warmth of Julian's arms. But the memories of his clan's screams held him back. I need time, he said, turning away. Julian's voice broke. Don't leave me. Please. But Ezra walked out, the rain swallowing his tears. Ezra didn't sleep that night. He crashed at the auto shop, the hum of fluorescent lights his only company. Every creak of the building sounded like Julian's voice, pleading. But Ezra couldn't face him. Not yet. His mind was a battlefield, love warring with betrayal, trust shattered by truth. By dawn, he was back in the forest, seeking answers from the earth again. This time, the visions were clearer. Julian, younger, cloaked in golden light, leading an army of zealots against demon strongholds. His face was cold, resolute. Nothing like the man who'd baked Ezra's favorite bread last week. But there was another image: Julian. Alone, weeping over a pile of ashes. His sword discarded. Had he regretted it? Ezra's phone buzzed again. A voicemail from Julian. I'm at the river. I'll wait for you. Please. Ezra. I need you to hear me out. The desperation in his voice was a knife to Ezra's heart. But he couldn't ignore the pull. He drove to the river, the place where they'd promised forever. Julian stood by the water, his sweater damp from the morning mist. He looked small, fragile, not like a general who'd raised clans. When he saw Ezra, his eyes lit with hope, then dimmed at the hardness in Ezra's face. I don't expect you to forgive me, Julian began, his voice soft but steady. But I need you to know who I am now. Not then. Ezra crossed his arms, his demon blood simmering. Then who are you? Because the man I married wouldn't lie to me. Julian flinched but didn't look away. I was raised by the Order, trained to believe demons were evil. I was their weapon. Ezra. I was young, brainwashed. But after the last battle, your clan's battle, I saw what I'd done. I saw families, not monsters. I ran. I swore I'd never kill again. Ezra's throat tightened. You expect me to believe you just changed? I didn't change overnight, Julian said. It took years. I hid, built a new life. Then I met you. And for the first time, I felt whole. He stepped closer, eyes glistening. I didn't know you were a demon until after we married. By then, I was too in love to let you go. Ezra's resolve wavered, but anger surged back. You should have told me. You let me love you, knowing what you did. I was afraid, Julian whispered. Afraid you'd hate me, like you do now. I don't hate you, Ezra snapped. Then softer. I wish I could. They stood in silence, the river's murmur filling the space between them. Ezra wanted to scream, to run. But Julian's eyes held him, eyes that had looked at him with love, not judgment. Every day for months. Before Ezra could speak, a rustle in the trees broke the moment. Marcus emerged, his demon aura dark and sharp. Touching, he sneered. The general and his pet demon. Ezra tensed, stepping in front of Julian. Back off, Marcus. Marcus laughed, his eyes glinting with malice. You think he's yours? He's a killer, Ezra. And the clans want justice. Julian's hand grazed Ezra's arm. A silent plea. Marcus, leave him out of this. But Marcus lunged, his claws extending, aimed at Julian. Ezra moved faster, his demon strength flaring as he tackled Marcus to the ground. The fight was brutal, fists and claws tearing through the morning air. Ezra's rage fueled him, but Marcus was older, stronger. A claw raked Ezra's side, blood soaking his shirt. Stop! Julian's voice rang out, and a pulse of golden light erupted from him, knocking Marcus back. Ezra froze, staring at Julian, whose hands glowed faintly, his face torn with fear and guilt. Marcus scrambled to his feet, spitting blood. You can't hide what you are. General, the clans are coming, and they'll burn this town to get you. He vanished into the trees, leaving Ezra and Julian alone again. Ezra clutched his side, pain sharpening his words. You're still him. The general. Julian's glow faded, his shoulders slumping. I don't want to be. Not anymore. Ezra turned away, his heart a tangle of love and distrust. I need to think. Julian. Alone. Ezra spent the next day at the shop, burying himself in work. Customers came and went, their chatter a blur. But one voice cut through: a woman. Lila. a demon elder who'd survived the massacre. She'd tracked Ezra down, her eyes sharp with purpose. "They know about Julian," she said, her voice low. "The clans are gathering. They want his blood." Ezra's wrench slipped, clattering to the floor. "He's not what he was." Lila's gaze hardened. "He's the general. He killed thousands. You, of all people, should want justice." Ezra's chest ached. He did want justice for his parents, his siblings, his clan. But he also wanted Julian, the man who'd made him feel human. What if he's changed? "Demons don't forgive," Lila said. "And neither should you." She left him with a warning: the clans would strike soon. Ezra closed the shop early, driving aimlessly until he ended up at the library. Julian was there, shelving books, his movement slow, like he carried the weight of the world. Ezra watched from the doorway, memories flooding him: Julian's laughter, his gentle touch, the way he'd made Ezra believe in love again. But the image of the general lingered, a shadow over every moment. Julian looked up, their eyes meeting. "You came," he said, hope flickering. Ezra didn't move. "I don't know what to do. Julian, I love you, but I can't forget." Julian set the book down, his hands trembling. "Then let me prove it. Let me show you I'm not that man anymore." Before Ezra could respond, the library's windows shattered, and 3 demons burst in, their claws gleaming. Lila stepped forward, her voice cold. "Time's up, General." Ezra's heart stopped. He looked at Julian, then at Lila, torn between love and vengeance. The library's air crackled with tension as Lila and the demons circled Julian. Ezra stood frozen, his demon blood roaring, urging him to act. Julian's eyes locked on his, pleading silently, not for protection, but for trust. "Ezra," Lila said, her voice sharp, "step aside. This ends now." Julian raised his hands. No glow, no weapon. "I won't fight you," he said. "I'm done with blood." Lila laughed, bitter. "You don't get to choose peace, General. Not after what you did." Ezra's fists clenched, his mind a storm. He saw his clans fall in Lila's eyes: grief, rage, justice. But in Julian's, he saw love, regret, a man who'd fought to be better. "Lila," Ezra said, stepping between them. "He's my husband." The words stunned the room. Lila's face twisted. "He's a monster." "He was," Ezra said, voice breaking. "But he's not now." One of the demons lunged at Julian, claws flashing. Ezra moved without thinking, his demon strength surging as he blocked the attack. The demon snarled, slashing at Ezra instead. Pain seared his arm, but he held his ground. "No one touches him." Julian grabbed Ezra's shoulder, pulling him back. "Ezra, don't. This is my fight." "No," Ezra growled. "It's ours." Lila's eyes narrowed. "You're choosing him over your kin." "I'm choosing the man I love," Ezra said, the words raw, final. The demons hesitated, but Lila didn't. She lunged, her claws aimed at Julian's heart. Ezra tackled her, pinning her to the floor. "Stop this, Lila. Killing him won't bring them back." She thrashed, tears streaming. "He took everything from us." Julian knelt beside them, his voice steady despite the chaos. "I know, and I'll carry that guilt forever. But I'm not your enemy anymore." Lila stilled, her sobs echoing in the shattered library. The other demons backed off, uncertain. Ezra released her, his own heart pounding. He didn't know if he'd made the right choice, but it was his. The town was quiet the next day. But the tension lingered. Ezra and Julian stayed at their cabin, patching up wounds and words. Julian told Ezra everything: how the Order had raised him as a weapon, how he'd broken free after the massacre, haunted by the lives he'd taken. He'd chosen this town to disappear, to be human. Meeting Ezra had been an accident. Falling in love a miracle. "I should have told you," Julian said, stitching a cut on Ezra's arm. "I was a coward." Ezra winced. "Not from the needle. I don't know how to trust you again." Julian's hand stilled. "Then let me earn it. Every day? For as long as you'll have me." Ezra wanted to believe him, but the wound was too fresh. They sat in silence, the weight of their love and their past pressing down. That night, Marcus returned. He didn't come alone. A dozen demons surrounded the cabin, their auras dark with vengeance. Ezra and Julian stood side by side. No weapons. No plan. "Last chance." "Ezra," Marcus called. "Step aside, or you die with him." Ezra's demon blood surged, but Julian's hand on his steadied him. "We face this together," Julian whispered. The fight was chaos claws, teeth, and Julian's faint glow flaring only to shield, not strike. Ezra fought like a storm, protecting Julian, protecting their life. But the demons were relentless, and Ezra's strength began to falter. Then, a new figure appeared, a woman, her demon aura ancient and powerful. She raised a hand, and the attackers froze, bound by her will. "Enough," she said, her voice like thunder. "This ends now." She was Mara, a clan elder, older than any of them. She'd heard of Julian, of his change, and she'd come to judge. "General," she said, eyeing Julian, "you seek redemption. Prove it." Julian stepped forward, his voice steady. "I'll do whatever it takes. For Ezra. For peace." Mara studied him. Then Ezra. "And you, child of the clan, do you vouch for him?" Ezra's heart raced. He looked at Julian, saw the man who'd loved him, who'd fought to change. "I do," he said. Mara nodded. "Then you both face judgment. Together." The clan's judgment was held in the forest, under the same stars where Ezra and Julian had married. The demons gathered, their grief and anger a palpable force. Mara presided, her presence commanding silence. Julian spoke first, his voice raw. He recounted his crimes, his regret, his love for Ezra. He offered no excuses, only truth. Ezra listened, his heart torn between pain and hope. When it was his turn, he spoke of Julian's kindness, his sacrifice, the life they'd built. "He's not the general anymore," Ezra said. "He's my husband." The demons murmured, divided. Some wanted blood. Others saw truth in Julian's eyes. Mara raised a hand. "The clans will decide. But know this, love does not erase the past. It builds a new future." Ezra and Julian waited, hands clasped, as the demons deliberated. The night stretched on, each moment a test of their bond. The forest was silent as Mara stepped forward, her eyes unreadable. Ezra's hand tightened around Julian's, his demon senses sharp, ready for anything. The clans had deliberated through the night, their voices a low hum of grief and debate. Now, dawn broke over the trees, casting light on the truth they'd all face. "The clans have decided," Mara said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "Julian, once the divine general, you are guilty of our kin's blood. But you are also a man who chose love over war, who seeks redemption. The clans will spare you not for mercy, but for Ezra, who vouches for you." Ezra's breath caught, relief and fear twisting together. Julian's hand trembled in his. But he stood tall, facing the judgment. Mara turned to Ezra. You, child of the clan, have chosen a path of trust. It is not forgiveness, but a chance. Julian will live, but he must serve the clans, rebuild what he destroyed, protect what remains. And you, Ezra, will guide him. The demons murmured, some nodding, others glaring. Marcus stepped forward, his face twisted. This is weakness. He deserves death. Mara's gaze silenced him. Vengeance does not heal. Service does. If you disagree, Marcus, challenge me. Marcus backed down, his anger simmering but impotent. The clans dispersed, leaving Ezra and Julian with Mara. She placed a hand on their joined hands. Your love is your strength, but also your test. Prove it endures. As Mara left, Ezra and Julian stood alone, the forest waking around them. Julian turned to Ezra, his eyes wet. I don't deserve this. Or you. Ezra pulled him close, their foreheads touching. You don't get to decide that. We're in this together. The months that followed were hard. Julian worked with the clans, using his knowledge to rebuild their archives, their sanctuaries. He taught human history to demon children, his gentle voice earning their trust. Bit by bit, Ezra stayed by his side, repairing homes, teaching strength, showing the clans that love could bridge even the deepest wounds. Some demons never forgave Julian. Marcus and his followers left, vowing to return. But others saw the change in him, the man who'd chosen peace over power. Ezra, too, changed. His anger faded, replaced by a quiet pride in Julian's efforts. In their shared life, one evening, they sat by the river, the same spot where they'd married, where their world had nearly shattered. Julian wove a new crown of wildflowers, placing it on Ezra's head with a shy smile. Still my forest god, he said. Ezra laughed, the sound free for the first time in months. And you're still my human. Mostly. Julian's smile faltered. I'll never erase what I did, Ezra, but I'll spend my life making it right. Ezra took his hand, the ring on Julian's finger catching the light. You already are. They kissed, the river singing around them. And for a moment, the past was just a shadow, not a chain. Their love hadn't erased the pain, but it had built something stronger, a future where demons and humans, vengeance and redemption, could coexist. Years later, the town knew them as the couple who fixed things: cars, homes, hearts. The clans watched from the shadows, some still wary, others hopeful. Ezra and Julian never forgot the cost of their love, but they carried it together. Their bond a testament to what could be when truth and trust prevailed. One night, under a sky full of stars, Ezra traced the scar on Julian's hand, a mark from the library fight. We made it, he whispered. Julian smiled, his eyes reflecting the stars. We're still making it. And they did, day by day, proving that love could heal even the deepest wounds, that a gentle human and a demon could rewrite their story together.